Hello everyone. In this podcast, we're going to cover how to catch values. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, first of all, we're going to go into example. We want to create a series of groups. Matter of fact, I want to create 3 groups named top group, middle group, and bottom group here. So I'm going to say pm.group. That's our group command. Like that. 3 groups. Now, by association, the group command normally, when we run a group, will group whatever selected. So let's see if it does this. I'm going to open up my outliner. Open up my outliner. Like that. There we are. And we're not going to be able to see these, so I'm just going to hit play. There we go. And we got 3 groups. Question here is, which group is which? We have these 3 groups. So I'm going to delete those now. And I'm going to put a name flag in there. And I'm going to call this one top group. Then I'm going to say name equals middle group. Now, I called these middle with underscore group on them, not just because they're groups, but because there's also a top and a front, and there's cameras on here, so I didn't want to run into problems. I didn't want naming issues. Okay, so now I'm going to clear my history and hit play. Not what I expected. Bottom's to the top, middle, top's the bottom. And the reason is because our group is created and it's done. And then our second group is created, which is middle, and then it groups together top because that's the last thing selected. And the reason why it's selected, when you create something, it's always selected after it. And then it goes bottom. That's why we're inverted. Now, you're probably really smart in saying, what if I just change top and bottom and that should work? That will logically work, but I actually do not want to do that. Let's say I wanted to create these in order. So the next thing we're going to do another flag. So a comma, and I'm going to say empty. That's true. And what an empty flag does is it'll create a group and it will not try to parent the selected with it. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to run it and hit play. And we got top, middle, and bottom. We got 3 groups. Good. Now we want to parent these together. Now, my question before we start parenting there, can you parent things? Can I parent a step ladder like I was doing before where top is a top, the middle is a sibling, and this is like the grandchild? Can I do that in one step? And the answer is no. I have to middle mouse drag and go and middle mouse drag if I want to create this type of hierarchy. There's no way the parent command in its original form can actually do that. Now, can I make one that does that? Yes. But in natural sense, parent doesn't work like that. So I'm going to have to run at least 2 parent commands to make this work. So I'm going to delete these now. And we're going to use the affected object. I'm going to say pm.parent. And I'm going to say I want to parent the middle to the top. So I can say how parenting works is you grab all your children first and your parents last. So I can say middle, and spelling is very careful and very, very important here. So that's our middle group, and I can say top group, like that. I can run this just to make sure it works. See? It's working. And I can delete those. And I can say pm.parent again. And I can say bottom, that's the child, to middle. Okay, so let's run that now. Boom. Good. Good, but bad. You're just like, why? Because the second time I run these, because these are going on affected object, is it possible that this name could have a problem? Like if I run this right now, this first one's not going to be it's not going to create top group. It's going to take top group 1. So when I'm parenting it down here, I'm going to be parenting other things. Also, these 2 guys here are going to run into problems because they're going to be duplicate names in other areas. So what we want to do here is we want to work not off of what are called hard-coded values, which are these. We want to go off of what points to the real object. And what I mean by here is that every time we create something, like this group, and we can see this group is creating something, it gives us the option to record, to actually record what's doing. It gives you a receipt. And you can store the receipt in a variable. Now, not all receipts are made equally. Like if you go to Taco Bell, they offer you a receipt you probably don't want and you throw it into the trash. But if you buy a brand new car, you're going to keep track of that receipt. So this is actually a pretty important item here. So I'm going to put in front of it a variable called top, and I'm going to put an assignment operator, which looks a lot like an equal sign, but it's not. It's in programming, it's an assignment. So we're saying the result of this group command is being stored in our top, and it always returns something if it's going to create something in our scene. So in this one, I'm going to say middle, and this one I'm going to say bottom. Now, if it happens to create a top group 1, that's what's going to be in top, not what we're telling it to name. It's not like if I go into a car and if I go to buy a car and I say, I want that blue car right there, and they come back and they give you a blue car, it's the same car, just a different, it has a different VIN number. It's not exactly the same car, but the same make and model. That's what we're doing here. This is actually what you actually get from purchasing it. So instead here, I'm going to replace our top group here with top. It's very important this is not in quotes. If you put this in quotes, then you're taking a snapshot of that variable, not what's inside of it. So now we go into middle. You probably also notice I didn't have to put the underscore grp here because this is in Python and it's not going to get confused with the names of those. So I can do bottom here like that, and then I can say middle again. Okay, I'm going to delete that. I hit play. Boom. Oh, I made a mistake. It says bottom is not defined because I misspelled bottom. Let's run that again. Okay, there we go. And now if I run it again, I can do it as many times I want. Imagine if we're going to do this, this is something we'd be doing with doing pads or controls with local oriented pads. So we're going to be making a lot of these. We want their names not to clash. Good. So that's our beginning. This is going to be something we're going to use a lot with affected objects to create hierarchies. We're going on from this point.